Good evening, welcome back to Germany for probably the last time of this week, where things have finished very nicely. Now, I'll level with you, they've got the music cranked up in there like it's a nightclub, so I've stepped outside and I'm taking a little bit of a risk because I'm worried that might get locked out, but Paddy, Paul and Tony are all still in there, so I'm sure it'll be fine, and this car park is reasonably empty, so I think I'll survive. But the football, things finished well. Norwich have beaten Schalke 2-1, which is a very good way to complete this week. Bundesliga opposition, of course, who were playing in the Champions League last year, made it to the knockout stages where they were beaten by Manchester City rather heavily. They also did have quite a poor season overall. They finished 15th, I think, in the Bundesliga, and a lot of change is happening there, and perhaps we saw a bit of that. David Wagner, the former Huddersfield manager, has been brought in, and yeah, they weren't great. They were pretty sloppy, to be fair. Norwich should have won this by more, particularly right at the end. Tom Tribal had a header from a Philip Heiser corner, tipped over. Tom, in that way that he does, managed to sort of rise completely unmarked in the penalty box, but the keeper tipped it over well. And then Ben Godfrey did exactly the same from a Heiser corner, but the keeper made the save on that occasion. So it did finish 2-1. It came with Teemu Pukki scoring in the 13th minute, which was a lovely moment for him because he, of course, used to play for Schalke, like Ralph Farman, City's new lone goalkeeper, who didn't play tonight against his parent club. Would imagine that was probably an agreement because it was literally about 2-3 weeks ago that he signed. Schalke did make quite a few substitutions. I think in the second half it was difficult to keep track of their subs, but I think they were fairly young, certainly by midway through the second half. A lad called Matondo equalised 3 minutes into the second half. Max Aarons basically dived on the floor, but no, just to take a step back actually, Mo Leitner had put in a corner early in that second half. It was cleared and Schalke broke really quickly. Patrick Roberts wasn't able to prevent them breaking, and then I think it was a 2v3, so Schalke outnumbered the City defence. Shot comes in from the right, Max Aarons chucks himself to the floor to keep it out, but then it was an easy finish from Matondo to put in from close range. But Moritz Leitner, just before the hour mark, that came from some sloppy defending from Schalke, and it was Pukki on the right hand side who was able to tee up Mo Leitner, and it looked like it was going to be a very easy finish for Leitner really, but a defender chucked himself in the way, and in the end the shot ended up looping upwards and thankfully bounced into the empty net. The keeper completely wrong-footed, and that gave Norwich the goal they needed to get a win, a pre-season win. So, you know, only means so much. Still talking about fitness at this moment in time, but there were plenty of bright sparks. And probably the biggest news of the day was Ben Godfrey starting. After all that concern, less than 7 days ago, was it Sunday, when we saw them draw 2-2 with Arminia Bielefeld in Gütersloh. Godfrey goes off in that one after less than half an hour, leaves the game on crutches, got a big boot on his ankle. Lo and behold, here we are, 5 days later, and he starts and plays, I think it was about 70 minutes, looked absolutely fine, looked to have no problems, and from a very brief chat with Pad, from what Daniel Farke said, he seems pretty happy with this. Obviously he's very happy with the situation, but he seems pretty happy with Ben's ankle, and he seems to be moving absolutely fine. So in terms of the starting lineup, it was Tim Krul in goal, the shape that we expect to see, which was from the title-winning season. Max Aarons right back, Jamal Lewis left, Grant Hanley and Godfrey in the centre of defence, and then you had Tom Tribal and Mo Leitner in the deeper midfield roles. Todd Cantwell started on the left with Patrick Roberts on the right, and then the sort of pairing that I'm sure you all want to see plenty more of, Marco Stiepermann in sort of chief support to Pukki. And yeah, there were plenty of positive signs. Adam Idah came on late, and as I say, there was those two chances where Norwich really should have made sure of it. Hernandez tore through. It was a lovely pass from Shrubeni actually, and Idah was stood there waiting from having scored 2 goals in midweek in the 4-1 win against Bonn. He would have been desperate to, of course, add another one late on. Hernandez just hesitated that little bit, and as so often, sadly, with O'Neill, as exciting as he is, he does still waste a lot of opportunities. So that was a shame. But if it had have been 4-5-1, then I guess people might have got a bit too excited. So maybe it might be a better thing as we all head back to the UK. Norwich have got out of here pretty quickly. I think they travel back tomorrow the same as us, and then it's a behind closed doors game at Colney against Brentford, who of course Championship side, and then on Saturday it's a Championship new boys Luton, who were promoted from League One last year. That should be a pretty tough test as well on Saturday. They do cracking cake in the press room at Kenilworth Road, so I know that me and Paddy are looking forward to that one as well. That will step things up nicely, and then the 2 home games. Feels like a while since had home games at Carrow Road because of the they relayed the pitch last summer, didn't they? And yeah, that's Atalanta, who Italian club, and Toulouse, the French club. So plenty more to come from pre-season, but this was Lotte, and it was a good setup actually, to be fair. The Frime Stadion, the Wi-Fi just about worked, which is always a big thing for us. And yeah, Norwich leave Germany pretty happy with their work, despite all those injury concerns early in the week. We finished things quite nicely. So head over to PinkUn.com for Paddy's report, the full match recap with our new live update system, which I've been in charge of during this week, and all the video action as well. I had a chat with Teemu Pukki, still absolutely beaming, really. He's had such a wonderful last year, really. You know, 30 goal season, all those awards, Championship Golden Boot. Then he got married in the summer. All that success with Finland already, then scored more goals. And there's some Schalke fans who are enjoying themselves. So to score a goal against his former club, and he got a really lovely reception as well, to be fair. They really cheered him off, even when the Norwich players did a sort of trot around the edge of the pitch just to warm down. He was barefooted for some reason, but every stand that he went, he was getting the chance. Teemu Pukki baby, they were joining in with that. Clearly, I think he only scored 8 goals in, I think it was 47 or 8 games in a couple of seasons with Schalke before he went to Celtic in 2013, but still did enough to be popular because he got a really good reception. So Pukki was a very happy man after the game, and that'll all make its way out over the weekend, although of course we have got to travel back a long old day in the car tomorrow. But photographer Paul Chesterton is the man driving the car, so we'll try to keep him well fueled and happy and awake, and then we'll crack on with everything from next week. So we'll catch up with you when we're back in the UK.